Let's make gingerbread cookies. Let's get moving. It is a very easy recipe to do. So we are going to be putting our flour in our bowl. We're going to mix all of our dry ingredients, okay? You guys know how this goes. We're going to put in our flour. Then we're going to add in our baking powder, okay? So I'm going to actually measure this as we go instead of doing it beforehand, just so that you can see truly the real time of doing it when you haven't had it measured. So there's 1.5 of baking powder, okay? Then we will need 3/4 of baking soda. So we're going to do a half. Here we go, baking soda and 1/4. You could do this by weight. I will have both weight and all of your lovely measurements as I always do. And then we're going to need salt. So we're going to need another 1/4 of salt. I always do this over the sink just so I don't make a mess. There we go, 1/4 salt, perfect. Now we're gonna get into our spices. Okay, so we have ground ginger. We have a lot of ground ginger. It ends up being a tablespoon of ground ginger. So I typically go like this. And I'm gonna do it right over top because guess what? If it has a little extra, no big deal. And it comes out kind of like this. And then typically I will use the lid like that and just pack it into it. See? And that's gonna be good enough. So there's our ground ginger. We have 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. So I've got my ground cinnamon. Goodness, I've used so much of this, it's actually almost hard to get out. So then this one, I'm just gonna do 1. And again, if you do a little bit too much or a little bit too little, that's okay. If you have extra spices that you wanna put in, that's also okay. No problem. My personal favorite that I know a lot of people don't like is clove. So this is my clove. So I'm gonna put in, and from the original recipe, I have, I think, doubled the amount of clove I put in. So there, that is my clove. Beautiful. Our dry ingredients are so happy. Okay, so we're gonna mix these together. So we've got our leavening agents, we've got our spices, and our flour. So this is going to be the mix that we're going to mix in once we get all of our wet ingredients together. So give this guy that good mix like this. Make sure it's all together. Beautiful. So when you do this, you'll notice that there's no big streaks of any of the spices. And even if there is, we're gonna be mixing it again when we mix it in with our wet ingredients, okay? Cool. So this looks right, you can see, beautiful. We're gonna set that guy aside until we need it. So pop it over here. We are going to grab our next bowl, okay? So then we're going to get our butter and we're going to get 8 tablespoons of butter. I had to grab a knife. I took this out this morning, so it's not going to be super softened. If I were you, I would leave it out overnight just so that you know. If you haven't seen, most butter has the measurements right here. So you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You know how many tablespoons there are. 8 tablespoons for your half cup or for your stick. And I only need 6. So I'm going to cut that right there. And this is how much I need. Bonk, into there we go. And this will go to be used for something else. It is unsalted butter. If you have salted, that's gonna work too. No problem. All you need to do is lower your salt that you put in. Almost stopped talking there. Hilarious. So in with our butter, we're going to add our sugar. Now this is our brown sugar. Now for those, if you're doing it by weight, you're gonna do it by weight. For those of you who don't have a scale, remember we're going to do, it's considered lightly packed. So you scoop it and you press it and you scoop it and you press it and then you kind of level it off like this, and that's going to give you your measurement. Okay, so you're going to pop that guy in there. Lovely. And we are going to cream that together. So again, we're going to use the same thing. We're going to mix this out. We're going to kind of mix this all in together, and then we're going to just slowly start to cream it together. I should have had this be a little bit softer, but again, I'm already going. I could microwave that little bit, but I just don't feel like it, to be honest. But we're just going to cream this together, okay? I might actually put this in a time lapse and then just tell you how long it takes. 1 second. I'm actually just gonna keep going with this just so you can actually see. So sometimes you just kind of have to crunch it down there and just work it in. And again, if you have a mixer, you can absolutely use a mixer. You'd use a paddle attachment and you would just whip these together until they're smooth. But this really, again, it doesn't take long. This is going to make about 2 dozen cookies. And this is not going to be the type of gingerbread that you would want to maybe got a call and it stopped recording. So hopefully this still has sound. Otherwise, I'm going to end up having to do a voiceover. Whatever. It's good for me to learn how to do that anyways. So here we go. Just going to mix these together. You have to think, for 24 cookies, for 2 dozen cookies, that's not a ton of butter, which is pretty good. And it's even not a ton of sugar, which is also pretty good. But again, cream it together. Gotta kind of get that. Shouldn't have worn a sweater today. I'm already feeling sweaty. There we go. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you do want to make sure there's no real big chunks of butter left, just so that you know that it's been thoroughly mixed in with that sugar. Okay, so you can see it's looking good. There we go. This is why we call it real time. All right, so that's looking pretty good, okay? Mostly mixed, lovely. Okay, a little bit over here, it's gonna bug me. Like that. Okay, so next we are going to add in our egg. I'm gonna be dangerous. Crack it right in. Beautiful. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna mix this in with what we've got going on here. Just like this. It's just exactly the same as the creaming method. It just ends up being that it works the egg in. Takes a little bit of time. Like this. And again, when you're in a mixer, it goes smoother faster, but when you're doing it by hand, you're gonna take that time to get it to be as smooth as you possibly can. Again, I still would use a wooden spoon over a whisk, just because it would be really tough on the whisk when you were, now you'd be probably okay, but initially it would probably wreck your whisk, so. Again, this is gonna be a dough, so if it's not perfectly smooth, it's not the end of the world. Again, if you're using this in a mixer, oh my goodness, it's so pretty and smooth, but that's not what we're doing today. So then from here, we're gonna add in our molasses, okay? Here we go. Our molasses. Now I know I'm gonna have a bunch of people asking, do you have to use molasses? For a true flavored gingerbread cookie, yes. Do you have to use brown sugar? Yes. Now mind you, if you don't care for it to have that true gingerbread flavor, yeah, you might be able to skip out certain things, or you could replace molasses with some sort of a honey or some sort of a liquid sweetener. But again, the thing with molasses is it has a very distinct flavor. It's very deep, it's very rich. It gives you that gingerbread color. So to me, it's essential. But if you don't have access to it, I understand that. But it will just be a slightly different cookie, not the end of the world, slightly different cookie. Okay, this is looking very nice, and we're gonna add in our vanilla. And you know me, measure it with my heart. Beautiful, just like this. Mix that guy in. Awesome. Like so. All right, is it chunky? Yeah, totally. Guess what? It's not gonna hurt anything. If you really want to get picky, you can sit in here and take every little chunk out, but it's still going to mix into the dough and it'll be fine, okay? So next we're going to zest our lemon like this and like this. If you haven't zested a lemon, it's just like this. You just want to make sure that you don't go into the white. If you get into the white, which is the pith, that's when you start getting bitterness and you don't have that lemon flavor. So we're going to zest pretty much this whole thing. You need a teaspoon. It ends up being almost a full lemon. So zest it. So when you are done zesting, it's gonna look like this, okay? I'm gonna have some of you asking, I know, is it essential to have the lemon? Technically, it's not. However, it will give you the best flavor ever if you put it in. It's just like it's like if a lemon was in a room across the house and it yells out lemon. You know, like that. That's how it is. It just gives you that extra depth of flavor. It ends up being incredibly delicious. I wouldn't do it without it now that I've had it with, because it's my favorite and it's delicious and it's so tasty. So here is this, very nice. And yeah, there's chunks. Oh well, it'll be fine, no problem. Okay, so we've got our liquid ingredients all mixed together, okay? Oh, that's gonna bug me, look at that. See that chunk there? I can't handle that. There we go. That was gonna bug me. And there we go. So, beautiful, a little chunky, who cares? Okay, we're gonna add in our powder ingredients, our dry ingredients into our wet, because that's just what this requires. Did I spill some? Yeah, I did. Oh well, I will get that off there in a second. Sure, I gotcha, good enough. So now we're going to mix this together. So once this all comes together, you're going to put it in saran wrap and you're going to put it on the counter in saran, at least for an hour. I know, waiting sucks, right? But it's gonna give you a better cookie. It's gonna help hydrate your flour. It's just gonna be better. Had a moment there where I thought I forgot to put the egg in, but then I remembered I did. So we're good. You can leave this on the counter for up to 8 hours. Say you get busy, say something happens in your day and you don't have time to actually do it, no problem. If you need to wait longer, you're gonna pop it in the fridge. So say you wanna make this and bake it off tomorrow. You can do that, but you need to pop it in your fridge, and then when you take it out the next day, you're gonna wanna bring it out and let it come to room temp before you roll it out. I know, what a pain, but really it's so worth it. This smells like heaven already. I am super excited for it because it smells so stinking good. Super ginger, clove, cinnamon, molasses. It's just a very, very strong flavor, which I love. You can see it comes together. It doesn't take too long. And again, it is a little crumbly. That's okay, because once it sits there and it hydrates for a bit, it will come together even more so, and it's very easy to roll. You're gonna be good to go. So again, once this is together, we are going to saran it. You can see it's changing color. The powder is going away, right? We can see this. We're all watching, love it. Scrape the bottom, scrape the bottom. Everybody knows it. Scrape your bottom. And again, a wooden spoon. I know it seems old school and it seems kind of hilarious, but you will be surprised how much a wooden spoon will do for you, more so than, say, a spatula. The spatula just bends a little bit too much, and you need something that can kind of hold up to the pressure you want to put it under if you're going to be doing this by hand. Okay, this is looking good. It's looking good. And again, if you're doing this in a mixer, it's gonna all just come together and kind of come off the sides like this, and all the powder goes away, and then you just put it onto your saran, okay? So this is looking great. I'm gonna go get my saran, I'm gonna clear this area, and then we're gonna wrap it up. And then I'm gonna be back in an hour, maybe 2, get some stuff done, and then we'll be able to roll it out and bake it off, okay? Here we go. So let's scrape this. Make sure to scrape it, just like that. Perfect. Remember, you can watch this in 2 times. You don't have to watch it the exact same length, but at least you can see approximately how long it takes to do this process, right? You can see it's looking good. Okay. Is it crumbly? Yes. Is that okay? Also, yes. And again, if you're doing it in a mixer, it'll stick together just a little bit more because the mixer will do that for you. I'm going to grab my saran. All right, so I've cleared my space. I'm going to bring in my cling wrap, like this, put it onto my counter like so, and then we're going to just dump out our dough, and it's going to be crumbly, and that's okay. If yours sticks together a little bit more than mine, man, I'm quite pumped for you. Usually I do this, again, I'm trying to show you guys that you can do this without having mixers and things. I typically do mine in a mixer normally, and so it does stick together a little bit more. But once you have this wrapped up, you're going to notice you're going to be able to just use your hands. You could even get your hands in there right now if you wanted and stick it together. Beautiful, like this. Get a good scrape, like so. Awesome. So then you can just take the side of the plastic and push it onto itself. Just take the side of the plastic, push it onto itself. It's your dough. No one can tell you not to touch it. You can just stick it in, and you're gonna wrap it up. So I usually put the sides up like this. I'll bring this over the top, and I will bring and stick it to itself. bring this over the top, and then a lot of times I will just kind of roll it onto itself like this, and it looks really nice, okay? So we're gonna let this now sit for at least an hour. I'm thinking 2. The longer you let it sit, the longer it hydrates, the nicer the dough ends up being. You can even see as soon as I open this up, because I wanna make sure that's stuck together, it's already looking better, right? Just needed that little bit of help, but there we go, roll it together. Let's let this sit for a couple of hours, and we're gonna come back, roll it out, cut it out, and bake it. See you in a minute. I said it was going to be 2 hours. It has been almost 5. So this is what it looks like when it has been sitting. You can see it's nice and hydrated, looking lovely. We're going to take about half of it like this, move it over. I'm going to wrap that up until we're ready to roll out the second half. And then we're going to just take a little bit of flour like this. Got my parchment paper down. I'm going to put this guy down here. Ooh, stuck to my counter a little bit there. And a tiny bit of this guy here. Another thing of parchment over top. And I usually, because it's nice and soft, I end up pushing it down like this. And the parchment is great because you're able to really have it roll out easily without a lot of mess and without it sticking to a lot of stuff. And again, I'm using this that has the edge on it so I can make sure it's a consistent height, like so. And then when you can tell it kind of starts to stick a little bit much, you just pick it up and keep going until you know that you have rolled this out to the correct width that you want, just like this. We have preheated our oven to 375 Fahrenheit, which is, I believe, 190 Celsius. But always preheat that oven so that way when you do end up putting in your cookies or your bake, that they are ready to go. So you can see this now is not sticking anywhere. Lovely. I know everyone wants a gingerbread man shape. I like circles. I do. I end up doing circles. I just like it. So you're going to cut out all your cookies. We're going to transfer them over to our cookie sheet, and then we're going to bake them off. But first, we're going to put them in the freezer for a minute. So again, you're just going to grab these guys off here nicely, pop them onto your pan like so, and then we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to put it all back together, and we'll roll it out again. Come on, stop sticking, silly thing. And then we're going to roll it out again like this onto our cookie sheet. You can easily get 12 on each sheet. These rolled out a little thinner than no, they're fine. I like it. So again, get them on your sheet, organize them nicely. We're gonna do 12 on each one, and then we're gonna pop them in the oven for a couple of minutes. And remember, you just gather your scraps, really make sure that it sticks together well, and that way it rolls out easily for you. Again, I typically will really squish it. You're not gonna overwork the dough. It's totally fine. Put it on, roll it out again, and then we're gonna cut them out one more time. Here they are on the pan. They look beautiful. I'm popping them in the freezer. While that's cooling down, you're starting on your next one to make sure that you have all of them cut out and waiting on the sheets. Straight from the freezer into the oven for 10 minutes. And these right here are fresh out of the oven. You can see that they puffed up really nicely. Again, these are not those really crunchy gingerbread cookies that you might have, like that you would use for a house. This is going to have a bit of a crisp on the outside and a soft, chewy inside. So we're gonna let those completely cool, and then I'll show you what the insides are like. Actually, while we're here, let's get you to, here you go. Ingredients. They would have popped up before that I actually said that, seeing how I can't seem to get my brain on straight. But there you go. There's your ingredients. There's your times. There's all of your lovely stuff. And then I will come back and show you, once they're cooled enough, the inside. So this one here is cool, you can see. And then when you break it open, it's going to look like this on the inside. There you go. I love you. Hope you make it. Bye. These are my favorite.